Time now for our Asia Live segment. Today we're joined by our South Asian regional correspondent, Rabia Mahmood. Rabia, hello. We're going to start with a topic that's been dominating headlines over there for quite some time, the upcoming withdrawal of international troops from Afghanistan. Thousands of tribal elders and civil leaders will be gathering in the coming weeks for a grand council known as the Loya Jirga to debate a deal allowing some US soldiers to stay on in the country after the 2014 deadline. What's at stake here?
Well, one of the biggest concerns and the stake of, as we know, Jade, that Taliban have already issued a statement saying that they condemn this, whatever decision the Loya Jirga would take, especially if they allow the U.S. forces, troops, between the number of 5,000 to 10,000 to stay back in Afghanistan to train the Afghan National Army. So they have condemned it, and there are fear and apprehensions that there might be an escalation in the attacks in Afghanistan. However, on the other side, another concern is that this might, and the complete withdrawal of the U.S. troops from the region might become another Iraq. As we know that the sectarian violence escalated in Iraq despite the withdrawal of the troops, and to date it continues. So these are some of the concerns as to what that would mean for the Afghan people. But we do know that President Karzai had already issued the statement that even Taliban are welcome to come and sit in the Loya Jirga if they want to send in their representatives. And whatever the Loya Jirga decides will be accepted because it will be a decision of the people of Afghanistan. This is how he's portrayed it. So he's kept his his political future with such a statement. He's sort of given a very yes, Jade.
Right, well, as the deadline looms ever nearer, US and NATO troops continue to step up their withdrawal from Afghanistan each week. However, many local residents are complaining the soldiers have left behind some dangerous remnants. This year, more than 200 civilians have been either injured or killed from explosives. That's a 30% increase from the year before. Over the last decade, NATO troops have dropped tens of thousands of bombs and laid out multiple landmines throughout the country, many of which remain undetonated. Without clearing their bases before withdrawal, the chances of local casualties remain high. Our reporters Sylviane Lepiti and Nicolas Roper have been speaking to residents in the Parwan province, north of the capital Kabul, who say they constantly fear for their lives.
The whirring of helicopters never stops over Bagram, Afghanistan's largest NATO base. Right next door is a terrain used by the American military for target practice. Here, they have left behind unexploded ammunition, much to the frustration of local people.
Even in the middle of the night, these large helicopters shoot all over the place. So there are lots of bullets and bombs that can kill people.
Due to the increasing number of casualties, the Americans have installed this barrier as a precaution, but it provides inadequate protection for children and livestock. Rahamullah accidentally came within shooting range 7 months ago.
I didn't know there was a risk of explosion here. My brother told me, go get the herd, but when I went there, the bomb exploded instantaneously.
He is only 16 years old, but will need to wear this artificial limb for the rest of his life. American landmines have led to many casualties in the valley, and almost 80% of the victims are young.
Americans do nothing for me, nothing. They come, they make a note of the case, then they leave. They don't support us. It's because of them I'm like this. But they don't help us at all.
His anger is echoed by others who also feel that the ranges should have been cleared after use.
Of course we're upset. If someone hurts you, you're angry. These mines are our worst enemy. Everyone here knows about them, but nobody does anything.
And the withdrawal of foreign troops from these bases means a whole arsenal of unexploded ordnance could be left behind. This demining NGO claims that it has found 53 dead bodies around the NATO base.
This minesweeper just beeped. There might be something underground.
NGO workers fear that undisposed ammunition will continue to claim victims for years.
Americans use bombs weighing 7 to 8 tons against the Taliban, and they don't give us information about these explosives. So when we find American weapons, we need special teams to remove them.
American bombs are not the only ones killing people. The Afghan army and Taliban frequently use mines as well. Amputees are usually taken to the International Red Cross Center in Kabul. It has been in operation for 25 years and receives between 2 and 5 new cases per day.
I was driving and I found myself between the army and the Taliban. I drove over a mine that exploded and a piece of the bomb wedged itself into my leg.
Day by day, the number of disabled people is increasing because the fighting goes on. We receive new cases every day, while we continue to take care of the previous ones.
The Orthopedic Center of the Red Cross treated nearly 8,000 people last year. After 3 decades of conflict, Afghanistan remains the country most affected by landmines.
Rabia, that report detailed some of the challenges NGOs face in trying to rid these areas of mines. Just how long could the process take, and what are people there calling to be done about them?
Well, as you've seen in the report, all the organizations, international aid organizations and human rights activists estimate that it will take decades for Afghanistan to be demined, as 1/4 of the land has mines all over it. And as to for what can be done, the government and leading organizations have been calling for a continuous support in terms of donations, just so there is enough equipment and enough emergency and the hospitals are equipped to take care of this issue. Just as recent as in July, Japan gave a massive donation for this very purpose. However, because most of the work is manual and deminers have to go to the spot to take care of this issue, it remains a massive issue despite the money coming in for assisting this project.
All right, Rabia Mahmood, thanks so much for joining us. That concludes today's Asia Live segment. Right, we're going to take a short break. It ends this hour of Paris Live. But do stay tuned. My colleague Shona Badasharia will be up next with more international headlines, including more on the aid efforts in the Philippines. She'll be speaking to emergency services there, so do stay tuned for that.